And yeah, then I have to reconsider my choices whether I want to come prepared for boggles next week, run it back with no respect for boggles and just hope to be luckier and dodge them, or change my deck choice. I'm not certain. I think the highest likelihood is that I just run this deck back. Oh God. That I just run this back and come more prepared for boggles. Okay, so now to put a great end to my exciting day of Magic, I got to play against boggles again, and my decision here is to hard mulligan for Electricity because nothing else really matters. I don't have another way of winning game 1, so yeah, this is great. This is what I get for deciding. I had 2 predictions gone in my sideboard this morning, and then I decided, okay, I'm just not gonna run into them. It's alright with just standard bearers, right? What could go wrong? Well, sometimes you run bad. I have been very fortunate with Pauper challenges, I can't really complain. But obviously that's not a very entertaining way for the match to end, or for my run to end. This is probably better than a random 4-card hand. Bottom. So I have 2 more draw steps for Electricity. Damn it, Christian. Why do you do this to me? Facing the soon-to-be German national captain of Christian Haug. Yeah. Well, I guess I only have 1 more draw step for Electricity, assuming he has an enchantment that increases toughness right away. And I guess we can also still hope for the Prismatic Strands cheese out of flying over and then having strands, and him having a slow draw and some of the combat jobs getting eaten up. Okay, so 1 more turn for Electricity? Nope. Well, I think I did my best to maximize my chances here. Yep. Still a draw we might be able to raise, though I think if he decides to keep such a... I mean, the hand looks terrible so far, so if he decides to keep such a, on the surface, terrible hand, it means that his follow-up has to be great, so it likely involves Ancestor Mask or Armadillo Cloak on turn 4, which neither of which I can really beat, so... So I guess my dream would be Helios Pilgrim go... Wow, what? That is incredibly surprising. Because that does not actually do anything. I mean, I might still be losing the race with just 2 power on my side of the board. I have 7 points of burn to help me in the race. Sure. I felt like bolting this was not worth it. Might have been though. Come on. I think I still want to be racing even though I no longer have any tools that help me. Like sitting back and trying to block these 3 does not seem so appealing to me. I'll get this back for another life point. I have enough untapped lands already. I think I need my Faithless Looting to show up, which is a recurring theme. Maybe I should have 2. Maybe that's the next step, to take the archetype. More 1-offs and 2. and 2 faithless lootings. Okay, his draw was incredibly bad, but he's still beating me senseless. Because I mulliganed to 5 and then drew 8 lands and 3 spells. Well, I mean, this replaces itself, so 4 spells, where this is kind of spell neutral. Unfortunate. Okay. Faithless shooting into double Galvanic Blast. Come on, one time. One time dealer. Or maybe into Prismatic Strands to make me sweat, and then Burn Spell comes later. Okay, okay. Prismatic Strands still alive. That's actually not too awful either. I mean, well, none of these trample yet. So if I flash it back, I'm losing 1 blocker this turn. If I block here and here, I go to 1. That's not great. So, because I think I want to be attacking with this, so it sets up attack for next turn, which enables all of my burn spells. Still drawing 2. Not that many. Or I can choose to not attack. But I'm not really making much progress. I guess the line of not attacking would be like to Battle Screech and keep Glintalk 2 birds open, then like block, block, block. Then I would go to 2, and I have 6 power on the board as well, so that works out pretty similarly. But it's better over a 2 turn span. Yeah, so I think flashback and keep Glintalk back on defense. Still can't really beat anything that gives trample. But against all the non-trample enchantments, I think I'm fine with 3 blockers. Attack with everything, yeah. That forces these 2 blocks. And I think I actually want to eat the white creature rather than the hexproof creature, because I'm going to be Prismatic Strandsing on green, and then I don't want the white creatures to be threatening damage still. And maybe I can even do this. Then I go to 1 off of this, right? 2 and 1. But as a result, I eat up all of the white creatures, so I don't have to worry about Prismatic Strand stuff at all anymore. So any burn spell for me wins. Because I have 6 points of flying on the board, then Lightning Bolt or Galvanic Blast ends up killing him. Yeah, I think this is better for Prismatic Strands reasons, going to 1 and then Strands for green stops everything, instead of him still having warriors around. Come on, just faithless looting into Lightning Bolt or something for justice. Okay, deck making me wait, making me sweat it. Burn. Come on, this is unreal. So 3 blockers again. Take with these 2. Can I beat Rancor ever? No, I would have to, well, I put 3 toughness in front of the one that has Rancor, then block, block. So if I attack like this, I can beat Rancor. Don't think I can beat Armadillo Cloak just because it has life gain attached to it. But then if they Rancor, I block, 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 then I can't really win that well anymore. And this sets up lethal in the air for next turn. Yeah, I think I have to do this. Well, now I get punished pretty badly for not trading the Boggle. If I traded the Boggle and had this for their soldier token, that would have worked out a lot better for me. So there were definitely some downsides. Also, I left them with no journey to nowhere target instead of them having one. So that might have been too cute to set up Prismatic Strands, because Prismatic Strands with a bird token to flash it back would have still covered both colors, and I would have been fine in the long run. So it might have just been incorrect to trade the soldier. Wow, what the hell? How am I winning this game? This is insane. Yeah, neither of them trample. Now I have Letha in the air. What is happening? This should not be happening. Wow. Well, that improves my match situation significantly. But it should not be happening. Unreal. Unreal lucky. I am not going to claim anything else. That was just unreal lucky. I mean, my draw wasn't lucky, but like his draw was so unplayable. It's insane. He did nothing. He couldn't trample over anything. He had like 6 power on the board on turn 10 or something. Wow. Yeah, I don't get it. I mean, I guess you have to keep like any 7-card hand that has the right mix of hexproof creatures, lands, and like 1 or 2 enchantments. But it's still insanely lucky for me that he never came up with any worthwhile enchantment. So I think I want to cut some of these. I think I cut those. I mean, they were really helpful in the game 1, but I think they're not really my game plan. Journeys can come out. Guess I can check his list from last week with how little Pauper he plays, as far as I know. He said he like just became interested in Pauper recently. I don't think he made a lot of changes from last week after top 8ing. Like, unless you're really invested in the format, I think it's like never change the running system is the mode that most people operate on. And like the reason that I make changes from week to week is because at least I pretend like I have a feeling on the pulse of the metagame and like where things are developing. I'm trying to outguess what other people are doing. So 2 Flaring Pain is good against Prismatic Strands, but I have a low amount of damage prevention. 2 Gutshot helps against the Standard Bearer, but it's like a pretty low impact card otherwise, so opponent doesn't really want to board them in necessarily, and maybe some Ancient Grudges. Okay, I'll board all of these out and just naturally rely on my Prismatic Strands being drawn, and then maybe 1 bolt, maybe even 2 bolts, I don't know. Yeah, there's nothing in their deck that I really want to journey. I don't know, let's just have the bolt for racing potential, but it's possible that Palace Sentinels might be better. If I survive to that point of the game, I'm still in a decent spot regardless. I would snap keep this hand in a different matchup. In this matchup it's pretty bad. Especially post-board when I have a lot more win cards. Next, Standard Bearer turn 2 is a great way of winning unless he has the fight spells reasonably quickly or the Gutshot right away. And there's only 1 Cartouche of Strength, 1 Heliod's Pilgrim in the deck, so he won't have an ability to fight my Standard Bearer all that often. So here I go Furnace, Prophetic Prism, Bounce. Yeah, no, that's way too slow. I mean, Prismatic Strands and Flyers is a game plan, but I would at least want like White Stars to go with this. Oh, mulligan and look for an Electric or Charmin or something. What the hell? Maybe he just mounts into Oblivion. That can be my hope, right? I don't like my hand here either. I'm 4-2 in the challenge, and this is 1-0 in the match, in games. Where's he actually, in terms of tiebreakers and stuff? 4-2, but at the very bottom. Okay. He has literally the worst tiebreakers, but managed to get paired against me to potentially ruin my day. He kept on 6. And what did the scry do? What does the scry say? Oh no, he doesn't get to scry yet, of course, because I haven't kept yet. No point in checking that, obviously. Win scry, crack turn 1. Inspector. Sanctifiers is useful, but hand is so awful. Yeah, I think on 6 I'll keep it, but I'm unhappy about it. Okay, I mean that's one of my best cards, but I don't even have a way of efficiently casting it at the moment. There's no way I'm scrying it to the bottom, but like it's only coming out on turn 3, which might already be too late. Though it does synergize really well with core sanctifiers, because if my opponent only gets to cast a limited amount of enchantments and then I blow up the enchantments that already are on the board, that's a great way to combine those two cards. Untap land would have been insane, of course, to get my standard bearer onto the board earlier, but yeah, my draw is reasonable now, but there are still definitely bogus draws that beat me. Okay, yeah. That alone so far isn't all that scary. Though cartouche of whatever it's called, the green fight cartouche, I lost to Boggles and Tireless Tribe. And the Tireless Tribe was like one of the most insane, grindy, drawn out matches I've played in a long time and very worth watching. The Boggles I just get ran over in 10 minutes and the matchup is not that great for me with my current sideboard, which is why I really wanted to avoid facing it. Okay, my standard bearer didn't die though, so now I feel like I'm in a pretty decent position here. I have no idea why you would put that into your deck as my opponent. I guess it is something that they are allowed to target. But it also just opens up my... No, I lost against Michael Jacob, Darkest Mage. I guess I'll vault it. Like, theoretically they can enchant this, because the ability of my standard bearer says my opponent has to target a flag bearer whenever they can. But they can target my flag bearer, or they can target their own flag bearer. So this is something that can carry enchantments for them, theoretically. The reason that I bolted this was... I mean, I could have waited on them to put an enchantment on it, but the reason that I bolted was because I can get a more aggressive attack in here, and I want to be tapping out regardless. Might even bounce the clue. Yeah, I think I'm bouncing the clue. Like, all of my lands have to stay in play for me to be able to cast Sanctifiers. This obviously has to stay in play. And then usually your play here would be to bounce the Raven Inspector. But I think I want as much board presence as possible so that I can keep attacking and close out the game before my opponent finds an answer to standard bearer. Yeah, now I get one extra damage in already, and I still don't have the mana available to sack the clue. I think it's better to keep this on the board than to trade, but at some point I will be offering up the trade. Because when they don't have a creature on the board, then getting this off the board is not particularly useful to them. Basically the turn where I think I can fly over for the win, the following turn I can start making this trade. Mono Blue Delver. Yeah, Mono Blue Delver can be powerful. I think it's like worse than Blue Red, but it's not so bad. So this is 5 damage. If I make this attack and they block, they go to 9. Yeah, it's too early to make that block. They can still go creature plus lifelink enchantment and wreck me. So basically I'll wait one more turn to offer this trade. So now I have to decide whether I want to bounce Core Sanctifiers or bounce my draw thing. Bit less taxing mentally, maybe. Not sure that's a good thing. That might just be a way of saying it's like you have fewer options and you get to make less complex plays. Bouncing this feels kind of safe, but I also want to kill them. 6, 7, 8. Block here. 6, 7. Gets them into board range. If I block the bounce this, block 5. Yeah, I think I'll bounce the vial. That makes it very difficult for my opponent to survive here. Even the answers to this, either it's gut shot, which costs them either this land or 2 life, makes it very difficult to survive, and then cartouche, they have to fight this, but then I have enough damage on the board to kill them. They block here and take 6, and then I bolt them. So I think bouncing this is like overthinking it, and I just need to kill them dead. Wow, this match felt super fortunate. I mean, that was kind of the reason why I skimped on hate for it, because I felt like, first of all, it's not very common, and then you can still get lucky and beat them. But the matchup is definitely bad for me. I'm lucky to get out of this alive, because I did decide to skimp on Patrician Scorn. If you add 2 Patrician Scorn or some Circle of Protection greens, then suddenly it's a great matchup. Well, Circle runs into the same problem as Prismatic Strands, that they have Flaring Pain. Okay, nice.